Today we're talking Turkey 101 with the top 10 Thanksgiving Day mistakes and how to solve them. Like, how much turkey should you buy in the first place? And what's the best way to prepare it? My method for oven-roasted turkey is foolproof and comes with a one-size-fits-all stuffing that's easily customized. Save time with side dishes with my prep-ahead strategies for the fluffiest mashed potatoes and my no-fail pan gravy. I've got everything you need to know to avoid those Thanksgiving Day disasters. Turkey 101. School is now in session. Funding provided by
Acacia Vineyard is proud to sponsor Sara's Weeknight Meals. With our handcrafted Chardonnay and Pinot Noir wines, we enjoy sharing the Earth's bounty and the simple joy of bringing friends and family to the table.
At Subaru, we build vehicles like the versatile Subaru Outback with symmetrical all-wheel drive standard and plenty of cargo room. Because some of the most adventurous days fall in between the weekends. Subaru, a proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals.
My mom, she's a magician. She turns water into soda, saving the planet from bottles.
SodaStream, proud to support the magic of public television.
King Arthur Flour, over 1,500 recipes online at kingarthurflour.com.
Hi, I'm Sara Moulton. Welcome to Sara's Weeknight Meals. Every Thanksgiving on Good Morning America, I help the turkey challenge through the big day. And over the years, I've realized a lot of people make a lot of mistakes that are easy to avoid, starting with the turkey. Mistake number 1, too much or too little turkey. What you want is about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of turkey per person, especially if you want leftovers, go the higher way. So this is a 12-pound turkey. It will feed about 10 to 12 people. You also have to make a choice about what kind of turkey, but I'm going to leave that up to you. Mistake number 2, not allowing enough time to defrost. So if you're going to do the turkey in the refrigerator, you need 24 hours for every 4 to 5 pounds of turkey. If you should happen to forget, 11th hour, you can defrost the turkey in a big sink of cold water, breast side down in the package. Change the cold water every 30 minutes, and it will take 30 minutes per pound to defrost the turkey. So a 12-pound turkey will take 6 hours to defrost in the sink. Now, here we are, and you have to now take out all the innards. If you're lucky, you get all that happy little innard stuff in there. Sometimes it comes with nothing, which always makes me very sad. But usually in here, in the cavity here, you're going to find the neck. And then usually down here at the other end, by the wishbone, you find a package of giblets. Giblets have so much flavor. Don't throw them out. Add them to the stock. Mistake number 3, dry, flavorless turkey. And this is the worst mistake. What is the solution? Brine the turkey. I'm going to explain brining while I loosen the skin, and you'll understand why I am in just a minute. What brining is making a solution of water and salt and sometimes sugar and sometimes spices, and you throw your turkey in with that liquid. It's almost like you need to find a little swimming pool somewhere for the turkey. Who has that much extra real estate to store a turkey in a big bag of liquid? We are going to do a different method because I don't have that kind of real estate for a turkey in my fridge, and I don't have an extra bathtub. We're going to do just salt, which is like a dry brine. We're going to start on the inside. We put a tablespoon in the inside and just rub it around. Hey, you're going to that's one of the things about Thanksgiving. You're just up to your elbows in turkey and all those things. So we're just going to get it out of the way and then hose down and carry on. You rub 1.5 teaspoons on each of the breast halves. And what happens when you brine a turkey, when you add that salt to it, is that it pulls out the liquid from the turkey, and then because it has to equalize, I don't understand all the chemistry, the liquid goes right back into the turkey eventually, and suddenly you have turkey which has all this moisture inside that's being held there by the salt content, and it becomes very moist, which it isn't normally very moist. So once you've got all that salt on the turkey, you want to wrap it very tightly in plastic wrap or tightly in a plastic bag and put it in the fridge for 24 to 36 hours. Okay, and then you take it out after that period of time, it's been brined, dry brined, we're ready to go. What you want to do at this point is pat it dry. I have some soapy water. I keep a bowl of soapy water in the sink so that I can wash my hands constantly whenever I need to and not contaminate the faucets on the sink. Okay, now, have you ever tried to take a 26-pound turkey out of the oven in one of those dumb little foil roasting pans? I guarantee you that is one of the most dangerous things you could possibly do. You'll be wearing it, okay? So you need a serious pan. So I've melted 1 stick of butter in the microwave, and right now I'm gonna baste the turkey with 1/3 of that butter. We're gonna just brush it all over. Meanwhile, I've preheated my oven to 325. I'm giving you the very basic way to cook turkey. Now, after I get about 1/3 of the butter on top of the turkey, I'm gonna pour some of the delicious stock that I made earlier. We need 2 cups. And the reason we're putting this in here is as the turkey cooks, we're gonna keep a moist environment. We're gonna do everything we possibly can to make sure that the turkey stays moist. So I'm gonna cover the whole thing really tightly on the breast, because that's what dries out the most. And then just sort of loosely on the legs, because we want the whole thing to roast at roughly the same time. The turkey that I'm roasting today is 12 pounds, so I'm estimating that it's gonna take about 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours to roast. And I chose not to stuff it for 2 reasons. One is, it cooks so much faster. This will probably be done in 2 hours and 45 minutes. If it was stuffed, it might have been 3 hours and a half or more. The second reason I didn't stuff it is, when you stuff a turkey, the stuffing must come up to a certain temperature, 165 degrees. It rarely gets to that temperature in the time that the turkey cooks. So usually you have to take the stuffing out. All right, so I'm gonna get my turkey into the oven. I'm gonna try to work very quickly. So I say, do it breast side up the whole time at 325. And now, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my stuffing, because I'm gonna cook the stuffing on the outside. Now, what people say is if you cook the stuffing on the outside, it's called dressing. If you cook it on the inside, it's called stuffing. And the reason that people, I think, like stuffing is because they like that it picks up all the juices from the turkey. But I figured out a way to make that happen without cooking it in the turkey. Here I have 12 slices of bread that I've cut into 1/2-inch cubes and toasted in a 400-degree oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. The other problem that people make, besides not knowing how much turkey to get, is how much stuffing do you make? Well, it's roughly 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup per person, depending on whether you want leftovers. And I'm melting 6 tablespoons of butter. You're like, oh no, but that's what you do at Thanksgiving. We splurge a little bit. So I'm gonna melt this and finish chopping up my onion. So we're gonna do onion and celery in the stuffing. I'm gonna start by sauteing 2 cups of onion and 1 cup of chopped celery in 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. So let me cook that up and chop up my herbs. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon each of fresh sage and fresh thyme. This is all a matter of taste. It's important to taste, and that's part of the fun of making the stuffing, is eating quite a bit of it as you make it. I mean, what's better than butter and bread? Okay, so there's our thyme. It's fresh sage. If you're gonna use dried sage or dried thyme, use half the amount. Go with about 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon. You can add many things to your basic stuffing. You could add some toasted nuts, sauteed mushrooms, sauteed apple, dried fruit, like dried cherries, pork product, that's a particular favorite, bacon, Canadian bacon, prosciutto, sausages. So this is where you can just let your imagination run free. But consider this all as flavorings after you've got your basic stuffing done. All right, I've softened these up. Now I'm gonna add to the stuffing 1.5 cups of either chicken broth or your homemade turkey stock. And if you add it hot, heat it a little bit, it will stir in much better with the cubes. And this is again to moisten it. So there goes all the vegetables. About 1 teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Wow, this smells so good. And you could do this a day ahead of time even. The good news about cooking the stuffing ahead of time is that then, while the turkey is resting, you can just finish the stuffing in the oven. You put it in the 350 oven for 15 minutes, then you take off the foil and give it another 15 minutes and it'll develop a crust on top, and that will all happen in a half an hour. We're off to a good start with our bird in the oven, and we've got our stuffing all made. Next up, some prep ahead strategies for making this meal come together even easier on that big day. We're talking turkey today with tips and solutions for the top 10 mistakes people make on Thanksgiving. We're going to tackle some terrific side dish strategies in just a minute, but first we need to baste our bird, which brings us to mistake number 5. Opening the oven door and leaving it open while you baste the turkey. You put the turkey down, you wander off and get the butter, you wander back and baste it. You scratch your head for a minute, you put it back in. Guess what? I've just lost 25 degrees of temperature. No wonder the turkey's taking 4 hours instead of 3. Instead, get your turkey out of the oven, go right to the counter, safe place. I've got this nice copper counter. Baste it here. Okay, it's time to add the second third of our butter. We're just basting everywhere. I'm going to add a little more broth because what we're doing down here is we're developing a wonderful sort of concentrated dripping liquid. Recover the turkey, and we're going to keep it covered and put it back in the oven for about another half an hour, because at that point we will be at the halfway point of our total turkey roasting time. I've estimated this is going to, I'm waiting for a minute to open the door. I've estimated this is going to take 3 hours. So at an hour and a half, I'm going to take off the foil, baste it one last time, and let it finish roasting. Okay, quick. There you go. Now, let's rewind for a second. We're going to move on to the next mistake. Mistake number 6. Cooking too much at the last minute. I think this is so stressful. You've got the turkey roasting, you got everything going. Calm down. There's a few things you can make the day before, namely the mashed potatoes and the gravy. We're going to start with the mashed potatoes. We have in here some Yukon Gold potatoes that we've peeled, and we put them in cold water, cold salted water, brought up to a boil, simmered until they're just tender. You can also use russet, which is a high-starch, wonderful potato, the most famous being the Idaho. Cook it till a knife just goes through, and then we're going to drain these. So we just put them back here, shake them around, get off any excess liquid. You have many different options to mash the potatoes. One is what we're using here, which is a food mill. You could also use a ricer, which looks like a giant garlic press. You may have seen those. I love that. Or, you know, if you don't mind a few lumps, you can just use a plain old potato masher and just go like this. Worst comes to worst, use a fork. But whatever you do not reach for what I reached for once, which is mistake number 7. Do not put your potatoes in the food processor. If you do, you will end up with one thing and one thing only, and that is called wallpaper glue. And those potatoes, you develop the starch so much in the potatoes, they tighten up, they will never relax. You will not have mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving. So we're gonna rice all the potatoes. Every time I pull out one of these food mills, it reminds me of my grandmother, Ruth Moulton, who was a great ye olde New England cook. And I guess she must have used this for a lot of things, not just potatoes. Now we're not gonna stir these potatoes at all. We're gonna let them relax, put them in the fridge, just a little plastic wrap, and then tomorrow we add the good stuff. We'll heat them up in the microwave and add some softened butter and some hot milk. But this is the bulk of the work. We've done it the day before. Okay, let's move on to the gravy. You want about a half a cup per person. So we've got 8 tablespoons of butter in here. and I'm gonna add 8 tablespoons of flour as soon as this is melted. At this point, we don't want too high a temperature on the butter because we don't want to make little dumplings when we add the flour. And this is regular all-purpose flour, which is the best thing when you're making a gravy. It's just perfect, and I'm sure you all have it in your house. And we cook this in, for a few minutes until it sort of looks like sand, like wet sand. It's going to bubble up a little bit. So see how it looks sort of like bubbly sand? That's what it should look like. Now I'm gonna add my chicken broth or your homemade turkey stock. I like to start gradually until I whisk in the first amount and let it sort of get incorporated. I have the best success in terms of lumps. Hot liquid into hot roux, roughly the same temperature. See, no lumps so far. We're gonna add some more. I add it in about 3 or 4 amounts. Lumpy gravy is another problem that a lot of people have. And if you still end up with lumpy gravy, don't worry, just strain it and don't tell anybody it was lumpy. And the last amount, there we go. Now I'm gonna bring it up to a full boil. And your gravy or any sauce that you thicken with roux or with flour will not reach its full thickening capacity until you bring it up to a full boil. Then you'll know what you're dealing with. You won't know until you get to that point. So you just have to be patient and whisk, use your whisk and to get into the corners. All right, I'm gonna simmer this at least 8 minutes. 1 minute for every tablespoon of flour in there, gently. It's reached its full thickening capacity, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. And we're gonna talk about mistake number 8, overcooking the turkey. Solution, make sure you use an instant read thermometer and that it is in working order. All right, time's up. It's been 3 hours. Isn't that beautiful? We only uncovered it for half of the time and we got a lovely, nice brown skin. All right, I'm gonna show you on me. Don't think I'm silly. Here's the leg, here's the thigh. You wanna stick the thermometer on the inside. I'm gonna show you as if this is the leg and this is the thigh and we're tucked up right against the turkey. Where we're gonna put the thermometer is right in here, but we're not gonna touch the bone. If you feel the bone, rummage around till you get away from the bone. That's where you wanna take the temperature of the turkey. What we're looking for is 165 degrees. Good news. When you see that it's at 165, take it out and let it rest. This is so, so, so important. I'm gonna let this rest for 30 to 60 minutes to let all the juices redistribute in the bird so it stays nice and moist. Trust me, it will stay rip-roaring hot out of the oven for a whole hour. And when we come back, I'll finish off our potatoes and gravy and get carving. We're in the home stretch of preparing Thanksgiving dinner. Our turkey is resting comfortably here on the counter, all nice and brown. And I'm ready to finish up my mashed potatoes and no-fail pan gravy that we partially prepped ahead. Let's start with the gravy, and it's related to the turkey. The turkey's been resting. And what we did when we first took it out of the roasting pan is we poured off all the juice that was in there. Look at all that fat that we accumulated. That's what's on the top. But the bottom stuff is delicious and it's going to add so much flavor to our gravy. I'm going to start by deglazing our pan. What's also delicious is all these little brown bits in the bottom of the pan. And I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of red wine to the pan. And I've got a Pinot Noir here. Alcohol really is a great conductor of flavor and will just make anything you add it to taste better. In this case, we're also going to taste the wine. It's going to add a nice, robust, sort of deep aroma. And you scrape up all those brown bits, and what they are nothing more than turkey juices that came out of the turkey and caramelized in the bottom of the pan. All right, so while this is loosening up and reducing here, we're just going to simmer it down until we have, I don't know, about 1/4 cup in there. I'm going to finish my mashed potatoes. Now, I took that bowl that I had in the fridge and I nuked it. about 2 to 4 minutes or till they're really nice and piping hot. And now we're going to finish them off. I just use regular whole milk. If you want, you could use some heavy cream or half and half. I'm going to add about a half a cup. You can add more. We'll see. I'm going to get the butter in there too. And as much butter as you want. It could be a few tablespoons. I think I'm going to add, let's start with 3 to 4. Add salt, pepper, and there's our mashed potatoes. And the reason you don't want to make them completely the day before with the butter and the milk is when you go to reheat them, it sort of tastes stale. This way, they're going to taste so fresh and they're going to be so light as if you just made them right now, but you didn't. But don't tell anybody you didn't. All right, back to my gravy. All right, I can see it's cooked down. I've gotten all the brown bits up. So now I'm going to pour in my pre-prepped gravy. Wasn't I a genius to make that the day before? Who wants to be making this the day of? And we get it all out, all that yummy stuff. We just stir it in, and the red wine's going to give it some lovely color. But that is not all. I'm also going to add the liquid that was in the bottom of the pan. There's so much flavor in this liquid because it's been hanging out with the turkey for almost the whole time that it was cooking. There we go, just got to the fat. Let me whisk this in there. Wow. Oh, this is going to be so good. So we married the turkey drippings to the pre-made gravy, and nobody will know that you didn't make it at the last minute. And while that's simmering, I'm going to go down and carve the bird. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the turkey onto the cutting board and add all these juices that I have left from the resting turkey back into the gravy. We keep building this gravy. We're on to mistake number 9, forgetting to remove the wishbone. You probably didn't even know that you had to in order to carve well. You probably just thought it was a little gimmick for the kids. You can see where the wishbone is because it shows you that it's down in here. There's a yummy piece of skin, and it goes right in there. You have to go in with a tip of a very sharp little knife. Just do a little excavation to find where the wishbone is. And just run your knife down either side of the wishbone. This takes time, so be patient. But it will make a huge difference when you're carving later on. You'll understand the method to my madness. Okay, there we go. We have the wishbone. Next, we're going to take off the leg thigh. Just cut the skin and then push the leg down. That is the ball and socket joint right there, and that is what we want to pop. That is where the point is that the leg was attached. Okay, there is our leg thigh. Now, I'm going to take the breast off. You know the breastbone goes right down the middle, so you try to find it and go on one side, the side that you're going to start on. Now, if I hadn't taken the wishbone out here, I would keep hitting it as I go down. It would have been right in my way. I would have left all that breast meat on the bird. Okay, and when you get here, you just cut it off the wing. You could have taken off the wing first if you wanted to. Okay, we have all the parts that we need. I'll take this off, it makes it easier. Ha ha ha. Maybe save it for myself. And just slice the meat straight down in thin slices. Well, I'm gonna do some dark meat, but again, you could just do that fast. Okay, you put a nice assortment of dark meat and white meat on the platter, and we're gonna move on to mistake number 10, serving hot food cold. If in the process of carving your turkey has gotten cold, just take a little hot broth and spoon it over the top. Okay, it's time to have our Thanksgiving meal. Here we have our lovely table. So we've got Pinot Noir here. We're gonna enjoy it, it's gonna be great. Thanksgiving dinner doesn't have to be daunting. Take advantage of my top 10 solutions for the most common mistakes. You'll be sure to be thankful. I'm Sara Moulton. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you next time for more Weeknight Meals. Sara's Weeknight Meals continues online. For recipes, helpful tips, messages, and lots more, visit us on the web at saramolton.com/weeknightmeals. Funding provided by
Acacia Vineyard is proud to sponsor Sara's Weeknight Meals. With our handcrafted Chardonnay and Pinot Noir wines, we enjoy sharing the earth's bounty and the simple joy of bringing friends and family to the table.
At Subaru, we build vehicles like the versatile Subaru Outback with symmetrical all-wheel drive standard and plenty of cargo room. Because some of the most adventurous days fall in between the weekends. Subaru, a proud sponsor of Sara's Weeknight Meals.
My mom, she's a magician. She turns water into soda, saving the planet from bottles.
SodaStream, proud to support the magic of public television.
King Arthur Flour. Over 1,500 recipes online at kingarthurflour.com.